Alright, everyone can open the camera. Okay, can I start now? Alright, welcome everyone. So, today we are diving deep into Toyota's recall crisis, but we're not actually talking about accelerators or floor mats, but we are about to examine the human systems that allowed this crisis to escalate. So, this is actually a story about how HR failures can cost billions. So, our discussion today, we will explore four key questions about leadership, strategy, motivation, and also culture. So, let's start with the first and most critical questions. Uh, yeah, which is led by Gia.
Thank you, Lynn. Now, the first question here is if we were to be in charge of designing Toyota's future leadership development program, what competencies would we prioritize and put first? So, based on the case, Toyota's leaders made mistakes because they cared more about growing and looking good than being honest about the safety problems that they were facing at that time. So, to make sure this never happens again, a new training program must teach the leaders that being open and keeping people safe is indeed the most important part of their jobs. I think that leaders must learn to share the bad news immediately because hiding a problem to save face would only make the problem bigger and cost more later on.
I agree with JR, and speaking up to boss is also important. Training leaders to tell their managers when something is wrong, even if it is scary and maybe unfavorable.
That's a great point, Momoka. I also believe that Toyota should make sure that their leaders know that safety is more important than selling more cars or growing fast.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I also think taking responsibility because teaching leaders to say I made a mistake and fix it instead of blaming others.
I would also like to add on by by listening to the workers, uh, by listening to the workers lah. The Toyota leaders actually need to learn on how to listen to the people on the factory floor who actually sees the problems firsthand. So we will go to the next question on yeah.
Okay, next question's topic is balancing cost and quality. Toyota was globally admired for its lean production strategy and quality, yet excessive cost cutting and growth pressures created blind spots that contributed to the recall crisis. How should brand promise of safety and quality in order to regain long-term competitiveness? Toyota is well known saving money and working effectively, but they focus so much on cutting costs that they missed dangerous safety problems. To stay a leader in the car world, they must find a way to save money while still keeping their promise to make safe and high quality cars. One effective way is safety first bonuses. One give managers extra money for saving costs if their safety record is perfect. What do you think, Uma?
In my opinion, I believe that Toyota should focus on a more slower growth. Like if the quality starts to drop, maybe companies should slow down to fix their sales and the other problems.
Another way is to better checking, like spend more time on the check part of their work cycle to find mistake early.
Actually, I agree with Mukris. So by listening to the customers, Toyota can actually use their customer complaints in order to change the design of the car immediately as possible. What do you think, Jia?
Well, I agree with your point, in all honesty. I also think that it is important to make sure workers have enough time to do their job correctly without feeling rushed. I think those were all good points. Shall we explore the next question?
Sure.
So for this question is rewards and motivation. In the past, Toyota gave rewards for saving money and showing perfect result, which made employers afraid to talk about mistakes. To fix this, we need a new reward system that makes workers feel proud of their work and also gives them clear reason to speak up whenever they see a safety problem. So the first thing is, I think, is safety prizes, like give small gift or money to workers who find a safety risk. So what about others? What about you, Gia?
I think uh, Toyota should also take their pride in their work, uh, in which they can remind their workers that making a safe car actually helps the families to stay safe. So, what do you think, Jia?
Um, I think early fix bonus. Reward teams that find and fix a mistake before the car leaves the factory.
And I think make workers feel good for reporting a mistake instead of making them feel in trouble.
I agree with all of your points, but not to forget that Toyota should also publicly thank to their workers who pick up so that others see it as a good thing to do socially. All right, moving on to the final question. So the question is, how should Toyota adjust its hiring and training processes to create a more healthier workplace culture? So in my opinion, Toyota's old way of working made people feel like they had to just follow the crowd and stay quiet, which is very dangerous for safety. So to fix this problem, we need to change the kind of people we hire and how we train them so that everyone feels brave enough to point out mistakes. I will I will also like to add on about employees who like to follow rules typically do better because these employees who prefer to listen to their managers, such as follow instructions and avoid arguments, will feel more comfortable. And this kind of culture supports people who agree with decisions rather than question them. What about you, Umoka?
Thank you. And I agree with Umar. I think workers who like to share different ideas or point out problems may feel scared or ignored. Over time, they may lose motivation or choose to leave the company. What do you think, Mukris?
So, from my opinion, people who avoid risk are rewarded. Employees who play safe and do not want to cause trouble would succeed. However, workers who think deeply or want to improve things may feel blocked because they are not encouraged to speak honestly. So, what about you, Gia?
So I also think that during hiring, Toyota should um they should look for people who are willing to speak the truth in a respectful manner and actually care about doing the right thing, even when it is difficult or overwhelming. What say you, Lynn?
I personally think that training, Toyota's training should also make employees feel safe to talk, which is they should also uh, train their managers to listen and not punish their workers for sharing the problems that they have in their workspace. Employees should also feel safe to talk about their mistakes so the problems can be fixed early on. So, alright, now we are at the end of the discussion, so we can all synthesize that Toyota's crisis wasn't actually about bad engineers, but it was about broken human systems. In this case, HR processes have actually failed simultaneously, which screams systemic collapse. So the lesson that we can learn from this is that HR must be organizational conscience. So that the other companies can also learn to conduct HR risk audits by asking this type of questions, which is, do our rewards incentivize hiding problems? They should also ask that, does our culture punish truth tellers inside the company? And they should also wonder if they are performing, promoting conformists over courageous leaders. So, my final thought would be quality is a people system, not just a production system. And Toyota already taught the world lean manufacturing. So now they must teach the world about ethical operations. So that will be all for our discussions tonight. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Bye bye.
Okay, wonderful. Yay.